Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Smash the like button if you love me. Subscribe if you're new. Please have your say and welcome to my review of Avatar: The Way of Water. The themes that James Cameron deals with in both Avatar movies, cruelty to the indigenous cultures, cruelty to animals, and both sets of cruelty are about capitalism and money. It's clear that Cameron has very passionate views about capitalism. Now, it's very, very interesting because some people believe you shouldn't talk about political themes in movies. It's not about not talking about politics, it's about how you talk about politics. New Hollywood doesn't know how to talk about important issues, but also New Hollywood or woke Hollywood or whatever you want to call them have no interest in the themes of cruelty to indigenous cultures or cruelty to animals for money and power. These are not the themes they care about. And even if they did care about them, they wouldn't know how to represent these themes in these movies without offending audiences about them. Because let's be clear, one person's political view is somebody else's opposing political view. That's obvious, isn't it? But Cameron's a genius because he doesn't bash you over their head with it. Avatar is about an indigenous culture, trying to be invaded by humanity. In the first movie, it's about some kind of rock or gem. And the second movie is a very, very different movie, but we see what they do to those fish creatures, and I apologize for not remembering their names. So the themes here, to me, are very important, and it's clear the themes in these two movies are also very important to Jim Cameron. He's committed, his whole career, or the rest of his career, to these movies. He's already made 4 of them. He was very honest that Avatar: The Way of Water needed to make around $2 billion globally because they cost a lot of money. He said Avatar 3 was safe, but he would have to wrap it up. So he was very direct and honest, and audiences responded to that by supporting the movie. They went and saw it, they loved it, and they went back for more, quite rightly as well. Because for me, it's one of the best movies I have ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. It's amazing. It's brilliant. Of course the VFX is stunning. Of course the cinematography is stunning. But it goes beyond that. That vanishes when you get into the movie. It's a highly immersive movie, not because of the visuals and the cinematography, but because of the story. Because of the character development. New Hollywood wouldn't know what to do with good character development or good storytelling if you paid them. And we do pay them, and they can't do it. It's old Hollywood that's keeping New Hollywood alive. People like Tom Cruise and Jim Cameron. It's amazing, really, isn't it? Because I've lost so much hope in entertainment as a whole. It's become such a horrible, divisive industry. The way they talk about stuff and the way they promote movies, they don't even know how to market. They don't care. They've just become obsessed with their world views. They just don't care about making money. They're happy. I think they don't care about losing money anymore as long as they make their points in their movies. It's insane. It's become insane. But the way Jim Cameron does it is the way to do it. And it's, despite all these themes, these huge important themes that Cameron is playing with, his 2 Avatar movies are full of escapism. To immerse yourselves in these movies and be part of this indigenous culture that doesn't have mobile phones, that doesn't have the luxuries that we have, but are quite happy living the life that they are, and they just want to be left alone. And it's very, very interesting because you've got like the token example of capitalism in this army general in the first movie. Now, in Way of Water, he becomes an avatar. But in the first movie, this is a guy who doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't have a cause. He doesn't care. He has his orders, and he doesn't care how it happens. If he has to kill the indigenous culture, he will. If he has to make them suffer, he will. He's been given orders. He wants to follow those orders. Now, in the second film, when he becomes an avatar, it's not really him. He has the guy's memories. It's personal. It's about Jake Sully. Now, let's talk about Jake Sully. The journey that Jake's going on is beautiful. He was part of our culture, and he saw things a different way. He was just going to go in there as a spy just so this army general could get the job done in the first movie. Then he falls in love with one of this indigenous culture. It really is an amazing story. Now he's a father, and he's not just a father to children that, are DNA relatives as well. The fine example is to the young human boy that they allow to hang around. And also, like, Jake's wife is a very interesting character because she's quite wild in her attitudes, and she doesn't like the human child. There's a very, very compelling moment when she threatens to kill the human child. And I think that's a very, very powerful moment. And they didn't really conclude that. She doesn't even apologize to the kid at the end of the movie. But Jake's going on this amazing journey of discovery. Basically, Cameron's Avatar story is a high-tech version of Dances with Wolves, if you've ever seen that starring and directed movie by Kevin Costner. It's literally the same thing. Guy, discovers Native Americans. He becomes part of that tribe. Then, the Americans, the invaders come in and they pose a threat, and Costner's character takes the native side. But one of the most glorious things about Avatar: The Way of Water is the focus on the kids. They really made these characters. Cameron really developed these kids' characters beautifully. And we've got the whole story of Grace's daughter. We've got the good son who does as he's told. We've got the other son who's always being told off by Jake and his mother. And, the death of the son, in the third act of the movie is such a compelling movie. And, Cameron doesn't dodge it. And it's interesting, the kid he chose to kill off, because it's all about character lessons. It's about evolving your characters. The character who died. In your stories, the most important character to sacrifice is the evolved character, the character that's already there, that doesn't have a journey to go on anymore, but it doesn't make it any less tragic when he dies. It's absolutely a compelling moment. But it's just wonderful. It's such a special film. But I've always loved the first film, and James Cameron does put himself in positions. He takes risks because old Hollywood always took risks. Doing Titanic was a great risk to his CV. If Titanic was a flop, which it could have been, it would have destroyed his legacy. The same with Avatar, committing his whole career to these really expensive, ambitious movies. But a lot of people think that Avatar is about the cinematography and the VFX. It's not. It's the story behind that VFX, behind that cinematography. He's using those stunning effects to attract people to a greater story. You can educate young people about compassion and what's happening in the world, what's happening to indigenous cultures and animals, and how they're being wiped out so capitalist strong countries can make money. Whether it's killing elephants to sell their tusks, whether it's what was done to the Native Americans or the Aborigines in Australia. These are huge important themes, and they're more important than the themes that are more important to woke Hollywood, like toxic masculinity, and things like that. This is where we are today. And when you see films like Black Panther, they don't represent these themes in the same intelligent way that Jim Cameron does. So, I woke up this morning, I decided to watch Avatar 2, and I didn't know what I was going to see. I was stunned. I got out of bed late because of it. I watched it in bed, and I felt I needed to talk about this film. It's beautiful. It's the way old Hollywood used to write movies, and there's not a character or a story beat wasted in this film. And I had such a good time watching it. So I'm so happy that this film made over $2 billion in the global box office. I'm glad we get more of franchises and movies like this. This is why people are fed up with the superhero genre. Because people want to see real movies with real storytelling, something brilliant. People try and tell you, oh, it's just a movie about VFX. It's not. That's not what he's doing here. And that's what's so beautiful. It's the beautiful themes that are more stunning than the VFX or the cinematography. This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wife. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.